At the wedding scene, Hoult abandoned me and went to find his Bai Yueguang. Just when I was about to become a joke to everyone in the industry, I pointed at Hoult's nemesis Steven. "Don't you always want to marry me?" Hoult called me and yelled at me for being shameless. Steven put his arm around my slender waist and replied angrily, "A scumbag like you doesn't deserve it. From now on, roll as far away as you can." As soon as I finished speaking, my lips were instantly blocked. 01. On the wedding day, I became a bride without a groom. Hoult mysteriously disappeared. The crowd in the audience was bustling, and those who came to the wedding were all business celebrities. Everyone looked at me with a smile. They seemed very well educated, but the sympathy and ridicule in their eyes was like a loud slap on my face. Too ugly. The good buddies from Hoult laughed at me even more unscrupulously. "The substitute is just a substitute, the boss is just playing around. You deserve to be licked by a dog until you have nothing left. My family is bankrupt, my parents are dead, and I still think I am a rich lady. Say, if we pull her directly into the bridal chamber later, will the boss not care? To be honest, I have wanted to sleep with her for a long time. I know they have always looked down upon me. I felt that I, who was down and out, was not worthy of Hoult, who was noble and wealthy." I forced a smile, comforted the guests, and called Hoult over and over again. No one answered. Busy. Got hung up on. Shut down suddenly. I smiled bitterly, always feeling that today's wedding would not go well, but I didn't expect Hoult to make such a joke on me. When I turned off my phone, good friend Hoult smiled evilly and shook his phone at me. I stepped forward and froze. It was Bai Yueguang from Hoult who posted a message on Moments. A girl I had never seen before, but who was everywhere between me and Hoult. Even when I heard her name, I would have nightmares. She said, "Thank you for running towards me. Mountains and seas cannot be leveled, but love can level them." The accompanying picture shows two hands holding each other's fingers, with the small hand almost wrapped in the big one. The girl's hands are white and slender, which makes people feel distressed. There is a shallow scar on the man's little finger. I recognized it. It was Hoult's hand. Even through the screen, you can feel the man's distress and tender care for the girl. I couldn't hold it back and slid down again. Bai Yueguang said, "I'm so sad." The accompanying picture is a posthumous photo of a middle-aged couple. Hoult replied in the comments, "Wait for me." It turned out that Bai Yueguang's parents died suddenly in a car accident, and Hoult flew more than 10,000 kilometers overnight across the Pacific to visit her in a foreign country. It turns out that this is what he meant last night when he told me that the bride and groom should not meet before the wedding. I also secretly laughed at his superstition. I thought he was looking forward to this wedding and wanted us to be happy and grow old together. Now it is just a lie to deceive me and rush to Bai Yueguang. I lowered my eyes and tears rolled down. He just said it openly. Why did he let me go and make me a joke, and stood helpless in the stands, as if a hateful third party had intervened? "Are you afraid that I will stalk you?" I followed Hoult for 10 years, from the age of 18 to 28, from youth and ignorance to maturity and stability. I am knowledgeable, and I am his most sensible and well-behaved canary. From being innocent and innocent, looking at him wholeheartedly, to worrying about gains and losses, paranoia, depression, and being riddled with holes in body and mind, in the end he became the person he hated the most. The wedding ring fell to the ground. I bought this for $300,000 after working secretly for 2 years, saving money and living frugally. I know Hoult doesn't like it, but this is my stubbornness and my will. I thought that my willingness to give would make him happy. Just like every detail of this wedding was designed by me, I have no complaints about Hoult's busy work schedule. I wiped away my tears and took a deep breath. At the end of one breath, I let go of the obsession I had held for many years. Since some people can't force things, I won't embarrass myself anymore. Hoult's good friend is still grinning at me. He said nothing, but I understand. He said I was a loser. I raised my lips. She gave him a calm smile. Turning around, I glanced across the audience and pointed at the handsome and noble man in the corner. "Will you marry me?" 02. The man was stunned. I recognize him. He's Hoult's nemesis, Steven. I didn't understand why he was breathing heavily all of a sudden. Before I could react, Steven had already walked onto the stage and pulled out a black velvet box like a magic trick. The matching rings inside are simple and luxurious. Not too big, not too small, fits just right on my ring finger. What would it be like to bring a diamond ring to the wedding of your arch-rival? Before I could figure it out, Stephen had already put his arm around my waist and held my slightly trembling right hand. His palms are generous and strong. The heat also spread, making the sweat on my palms become clammy. He looked straight ahead, not looking at me at all, but spoke and smiled. The voice was as warm as the spring breeze, and my heart felt inexplicably quiet. "Amy, look at the camera. I won't let you lose today." This time it was my turn to be stunned. Hoult's group of buddies were even more shocked. If I remember correctly, this was the first time Stephen talked to me. After the wedding, Stephen finally let go of my hand. I squeezed my sore fingers and stuffed a bank card into his chest suit pocket. "There are 100,000 here. Mr. Stephen, thank you today. Although I shouldn't take advantage of you, I heard that the famous ladies in the capital block your door every day, so I have solved a lot of trouble for you. You can be much cleaner from now on, no need to thank me." After that, I turned around and left. Perhaps out of reluctance, perhaps out of revenge, I somehow chose Stephen to be my groom today. But after all, I just don't want to embarrass myself too much. As for Stephen, what could be a greater sense of accomplishment than making his archenemy woman surrender? Therefore, he did not lose money on this transaction. But I don't understand why Stephen stopped me. I suppressed my temper and patiently explained, "I only have so much. 100,000 is the private money I secretly saved. Although Hoult gave me a lot of money, it was hidden in the bottom drawer of the closet and I never touched it." Stephen was angry. He grabbed my wrist, forced me into the corner, and looked at me condescendingly, his eyes dark and unclear. "Amy, if you provoke me, you must provoke me to the end. Now the whole world knows that I am your man, and you have to be responsible for me." I frowned and looked at Stephen in confusion. He was a head and a half taller than me, and his eyes were as deep as a bottomless spring, so deep that I couldn't see the emotions inside. He didn't say I was his woman. What he said was that he was my man. "Mr. Stephen, what do you mean?" Literal meaning. 03. Along the way, Stephen drove quietly and said nothing. He didn't continue to explain the conversation just now. Yes, I was stuffed into a luxurious Rolls-Royce by him in full view of everyone. It turns out that a woman's resistance in front of a man is nothing at all. Regarding Stephen, I heard Hoult mention it many times, and I also met him once or twice at the business receptions attended by Hoult. He is a business genius with a ruthless personality and has never been unkind to women. Hoult hated him with a passion. Because of any project that Hoult was interested in, Stephen would chase and block him, killing him until he was completely defeated. The black Rolls-Royce slowly drove into the community and parked under my apartment building. I got out of the car as if running away. The enclosed space suffocates me. Stephen opened the car window and stared at me quietly. "Won't you invite me to come up and sit down?" His tone was obviously gentle, but I smelled a hint of urgency and danger. Everyone in the adult world knows what this means. I felt a little inexplicably angry, so I quickly stepped forward, put my hand across the car window, grabbed Stephen's tie, and moved closer to me. "Stephen, I don't care what your intentions are, but this isn't fun. I have already thanked you for helping me today. Don't push yourself too far. Or do you think the woman who captured Hoult feels a sense of accomplishment?" A short distance away, Stephen and I were nose to nose. Eye to eye, an anxious and ambiguous atmosphere spread. I saw the base of Stephen's ears turn red all of a sudden. He swallowed, held his breath, pried my fingers apart one by one, and got out of the car. "Amy, is this what you think of me? Your sharp little claws shouldn't scratch me." I don't know if it was my imagination, but I could see sadness and loss in his darkening eyes. When I went to dig deeper, Stephen returned to his previous warm and gentle look, sighed and touched my head. However, I can understand it. But giving up the entire forest for a crooked neck tree is not a wise move. I avoided Stephen's hand. Is this a confession or a seduction? The dim streetlight fell on Stephen's face. The fragmented light and shadow ignited anticipation in the frames of his eyes, and the doubts and vigilance in my heart became more and more intense. Obviously, we have only known each other for 3 hours. Could it be that he was deliberately pretending to lure me into a cage of emotions and then show it off everywhere? Or is it for something else? No matter which one, I just came out of the wolf's den and my heart has not yet recovered. How can I fall in love again and fall into the whirlpool of love? What's more, from now on I just want to love myself. I don't want to be anyone's victim anymore. I was about to open my mouth to refute, but Steven's expression was playful and teasing. I'm just kidding, look at how scared you are. Speaking of which, Amy, why are you so easy to deceive? Your uncle. I wanted to hit Steven, but he grabbed my wrist. He pulled hard and I fell into his arms. His heartbeat was fast but sonorous. While the atmosphere was in a stalemate, my mobile phone WeChat rang. It was Hoult who kept at me among his brothers. Amy, you're on your way. I really underestimated you before, and you actually found my nemesis to act. If I go to the wedding venue, are you still going to let him steal the wedding? I'll give you 10 minutes, get back here quickly. 04. Oh, he finally turned on the phone. Comfort Bai Yueguang, you finally have time to talk to me? I squatted on the ground, leaning against the car door, letting the cold wind pass through, and looking through the chat records between Hoult and his brothers one by one. Someone posted a photo of me and Steven wearing rings at the wedding in the group. Boss, I've told you long ago that you can't have this kind of wanton woman just for fun. What do you think the boss is thinking? If someone hadn't been chasing after the boss like a dog every day, he wouldn't want it. Don't tell me Amy's figure is not concealed. The front is bulging and the back is curved. The places where flesh should be fleshy are not ambiguous at all. I have never seen a woman with more material than her. They teased me, but Hoult didn't say a word for me. How could he not know that I was in the group, and how could he not think that I would see this? When I exited the chat dialog box, I discovered that Hoult had privately messaged me at some point. He rarely sends me WeChat messages. Amy, do it again? I'm already very tired. Why don't you fix this for me? The Hoult family's stock price fell by 30% because of your willfulness. Are you satisfied now? Amy, talk. You apologize now and publicly state that you directed and acted the farce at the wedding. I will consider giving you a chance to turn around. Otherwise, you will never be able to enter the Hoult house in this life. The signal was not good in the tunnel just now and the phone didn't ring. Probably because he saw that I never replied, Hoult became anxious and started at me like crazy in the group. Marrying him has been my obsession for 10 years. He knows me so well that he feels he can manipulate me and trample on my dignity in front of his brothers. But now I don't want to. I do not want it. Although my heart hurts and my future is confused, I have no regrets and will never give him any chance to hurt me again. I replied in the group. Hoult, thank you for the opportunity. Leave it to you and your white moonlight. Hoult got angry. Amy, you are so stubborn. Do you dare to disobey me? He uses more punctuation today than he did in the past 10 years. Hoult's buddy started sarcastic again. Hey, you're doing this again? Playing hard to get? I bet Amy will be back in the dumps in less than 3 days. I'll bet for a day and give 1 million to the loser. Hoult, you all lost. I bet for an hour. I smiled sadly, my eyes blurred by tears. Hoult has always been so determined. Unfortunately, he will be disappointed this time. I will never go back. I left the group, blocked Hoult's WeChat account, turned off my phone and stared at Steven. Do you want it? Steven. Huh. I clenched my fists and paused. Come to my house? I'm alone tonight. 05. It was dark inside the house, and the moonlight was bright outside the window. At the entrance of the apartment, Steven and I kissed passionately. My body was pressed against the wall by Steven. His big hands raised my hands above my head, and his other hand lovingly placed on the back of my head. He said he was afraid that I would bump him. I don't know why, but my eyes became moist at that moment. Perhaps I have never been treated so tenderly. Steven's kisses gently touched my neck, cheeks, and earlobes. Finally, it fell on my eyes. Very careful, very gentle, even a little flattering. It was as if I was the treasure he had been cherishing for many years. Amy, is that okay? Steven is gentle and gentle, but Hoult is different from him. He always treats me in the roughest way a man can. He never considers whether I want it, whether I am happy or not, whether I am lost or not. He complained that I had too many things to do, and that there was so much foreplay that he lost all feeling. I bit my lip tightly, with indescribable complex emotions in my eyes. But I know that when I face Steven, I must be smiling, at least with some gratitude and tenderness in it. Shout out if you like it. You don't have to wrong yourself in front of me. Stephen's breathing was hot and getting heavier. When the key dress was lifted up, the phone vibrated. It's Hoult. But I didn't want to pay attention to him. Hoult kept fighting. I suddenly felt that it was quite ridiculous. Men are so mean. If you take the initiative to hang around him, he will find you annoying. You stay away from him, but he can't bear to leave you. I found it too noisy and turned off the phone. As soon as his hands covered Shani's waist, his cell phone rang. Stephen frowned but accepted it anyway. Even through the phone screen, I could feel Hoult's anger across from me. Stephen, where are you? Are you and Amy together? I'm warning you, don't touch Amy. She is my woman. She doesn't love you. She just uses you to make me angry. You are the spice of our relationship. They say women have an accurate sixth sense. But I have to admit that if a man becomes more serious, his sixth sense will not be much different. The weak light from the mobile phone made Stephen's eyes flicker. He stiffened and said sadly, Amy, is that so? When I was stunned, the flashlight came on. As the shutter clicked, Stephen's kiss fell on my cheek. Before I knew it, Stephen had already sent our selfie to Hoult. I buried myself in Stephen's chest and heard Stephen's calm voice. Mr. Hoult, it's rude to disturb others at this time. Amy, can we continue? After Stephen finished speaking, he hung up the phone, picked me up and placed me on the soft bed. He leaned over, but supported his body with his hands, keeping a distance of 10 centimeters from me. That distance can be advanced or retreated. Amy, you still have a choice now. I understand what he means. He was asking for my opinion, fearing I would regret it. But we only met a few times. Everyone said that he was decisive in killing, ruthless and merciless in his actions. He was indifferent to women, but he was gentle enough to me. My tears couldn't help but fall on the pillow. At this moment, I felt inexplicably relieved. I wrapped my hands around his neck and kissed his lips. It's just the person next to the bed. It has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with marriage. I had a hard time in the past 10 years, so let me indulge myself this time. Besides, the man in front of me is extremely handsome, with broad shoulders, narrow waist, and 8-pack abs. I deserve it. Moonlight streamed in through the window. The broken hair on Stephen's forehead was shaking, and my face was wet. I couldn't tell whether it was my tears or his sweat. In a hazy state, I heard Stephen whisper in my ear, Amy, don't worry, I will. You. I sneered silently. If a man takes it seriously at this time, whoever takes it seriously will lose. In this life, I have decided to seal my heart in love. 05. When I woke up the next day, the sun was already shining. I haven't had such a comfortable sleep in a long time. My body is not as sore or tired as I imagined. To be precise, I feel comfortable all over. After experiencing last night, I realized that it turned out to be so beautiful. Intoxicating. Hoult, you are so useless. Early the next morning, Stephen looked at me with a smile. Hoult asked you what to do with the things in the villa. He wants you to go and clean it up yourself. Are you going? Strangeness. Stephen seems to be afraid that I will go there. However, I have been with Hoult for 10 years. Apart from the clothes, bags, and jewelry he bought me, and some simple daily necessities, there is nothing else in the villa. He didn't want me to pack my things, but he just wanted to give me a way out and let me go over and apologize. I hugged the quilt and slowly sat up, expressionless. Tell him to throw it away. Stephen was visibly relieved. I glared at Stephen. Is there anything else? This eviction order is obvious enough. Stephen then stood up. After putting on his bathrobe, he leaned against the door and asked me seriously, Amy, what is our relationship? I was stunned and swallowed guiltily. What else could it be? Bedmate. If you want to in the future, we can make an appointment at any time. Seriously, your skills are pretty good. Stephen stood there without moving, but his face immediately darkened. Amy, you are cruel. After saying that, Stephen turned and left without looking at me again. I looked at his leaving figure and heard the sound of his gravity closing the door. I thought this was pretty good. I really covet his good body. He doesn't get tired after such a long time. Not even a little bit better than Hoult. Last night he hugged me tightly, so hard that I couldn't breathe, as if he wanted to embed me into his body to be satisfied. Would you like to stay with me? I will make you happier in the future. I looked a little confused and didn't answer. I admit he is very good at it. But I am using him after all, and it would be too immoral to continue to entangle with him. And love is so hurtful I won't touch it again. After everything was packed, I was about to leave for work. Today I deliberately chose a turtleneck sweater to cover the hickey on my neck. I didn't want to be gossiped about by my colleagues. When I opened the door, I met Steven's eyes. He was holding breakfast in one hand and about to knock on the door with the other hand. Isn't he gone? Is this going to buy me breakfast? Steven lowered his head and asked me displeasedly, "What are you going to do?" "Amy, don't be spineless and go find Holt." I was stunned for a moment and speechless. 06. Before I could answer, Steven angrily dragged me into the living room and pressed me down in front of the dining table. "Brother, I'm going to work. You don't even eat breakfast, so you go to work? Your stomach doesn't feel good, right?" Steven's expression softened a little, and he blamed me while pouring the tofu curd from the thermos bucket into the bowl. "No, big brother. Are we that familiar? You even have to take care of this?" Steven frowned and glanced at me, then turned me around in my chair to face him. He put his hands on the back of my chair, circled me, and was about to unbutton my windbreaker. "Miss Amy, do you need me to help you recall how familiar we were last night?" I hurriedly stopped him. No, I'll eat. Isn't it okay if I eat? In this clear sky, what exactly does he want? No, what on earth am I thinking about? But when the steaming tofu poo was placed in front of me, my eyes froze. No cilantro, a little minced garlic, thick sesame sauce. Steven tore the fried dough sticks into small pieces and soaked them in the soup. "Eat it quickly, the fried dough sticks will become less crispy after a while." No, how did he know that I like to eat like this? I took a small scoop and said, "The one on the old street?" I haven't had this familiar taste in a long time. When I was a child, my parents often took me to eat. But since they passed away, I've never been there. I thought the stores were gone. Steven nodded. "As long as you like it. I'm afraid the taste will change if it gets cold, but it's okay." I put down the spoon, tilted my head, and stared at Steven. I felt more and more weird about what he said. How could he know my preferences? Probably because I had been staring at him for a long time. Steven's eyes dodged. "I'm going to wash some strawberries for you to relieve your tiredness." After Steven finished speaking, he ran into the kitchen. I looked at his figure busy in the kitchen, took a few bites of old tofu, and then spoke calmly. "Steven, how did you know I had a bad appetite?" Steven didn't look back, but I saw his body tense up. "At a drinking party, I accidentally saw Holt's driver taking you to the hospital and saying that you had stomach bleeding. I thought about it carefully, and it really happened. 3 years ago, Holt's business encountered some difficulties. At a cocktail party, he went to beg for resources and was drunk. I was afraid that he would get drunk, so I blocked him a lot. If Steven didn't tell me, I would have forgotten. But did he really see it accidentally? The tofu brains were white, tender, and delicious. I finished a full bowl. Holt has never liked these. He feels that eating them is a waste and not as stylish as toast. He also criticized me for the taste of minced garlic. "Amy, is this your eldest lady's upbringing? The people around me are all elites and distinguished people. Please don't embarrass me, okay? So I haven't touched this in 8 years. In fact, whether you love someone or not can be seen in the details. To be more precise, he has never respected me in his heart since my family went bankrupt. 10 years later, I remember all his likes. But he wants me to take away my preference for him. When I think about the past, I feel stupid. Fortunately, I let it go and walked out." "What, you were moved to tears?" Steven held the strawberries and leaned against the wall. His fingers were probably a little white from holding it for a long time. "Steven, how long have you been staring?" "Long time." Steven came over, stuffed a strawberry into my mouth, and wiped the tears from my eyes. "Amy, the promise you made last night remains valid. You can start whenever you want." I almost choked, but Steven hurriedly patted my back and used the Heimlich maneuver to force the strawberry out of me. I suppressed it until my whole face turned red. And I didn't forget to wave my hands again and again. "Don't want." Steven was not angry. "Okay. It's okay if you don't want to. Then pack your things and we'll go out." He stuffed me into the bedroom, opened my closet, and took out my suitcase. "Where to go?" "Maldives." "I still have to go to work, I won't go." I've already said hello to your leader and asked for leave for you. You. I was furious and stamped my feet. My money will be deducted. I give you. The next second, a reminder sounded that Alipay had received 1 million yuan. 07. Don't give up on money. However, Stephen didn't mean what he said. He said he would take me to the Maldives, but it took more than half a month to go to the Great Barrier Reef and see the aurora in the North Pole. Don't you girls like this? Stephen and I were lying under the vast sky, looking up at the vast sky. Who doesn't like having money, looks, and time? A social animal, running around for 3 meals a day, is not qualified. But Mr. Stephen, what do you girls mean? I teased Stephen. Since that night, although we were in the same hotel, in the same room, and on the same bed, he never touched me again. I know his time is valuable too. Whenever I wake up in the middle of the night, I always see him sitting in the dim light, doing work on the computer. I know it was daytime in China. In the past 20 days, Holt has not contacted me again. But his brothers were apologizing to me. Sister-in-law, the boss drank too much. This is the first time they call me sister-in-law. What's the use of belated respect? Sister-in-law, today is the eldest brother's birthday. We brothers have never seen him so frustrated. He said you never forgot his birthday gift. Is it still on the way? Sister-in-law, why don't you send a message to the boss to explain? Yes, but please don't say it was us who contacted you. One message after another came, one after another. 2. In everyone's opinion, including Holt, my disagreement with him never lasted more than a week. He ignored me, so I took the opportunity to take advantage of him after taking a shower, and took the initiative to stick to him, trying to please him with a flattering look on his face. But now I don't care anymore. I don't love anymore. I replied calmly. Don't tell me about him from now on. The video was suddenly dialed. I wanted to turn it off, but accidentally pressed the on button. The screen rotated, probably because the phone fell to the ground. The lights in the clubhouse box were very dim and the sound was very noisy. I didn't see Holt, I just heard his brother yelling loudly from the side. Sister-in-law, the boss drank so much that his stomach bleeds. He keeps calling your name. Where are you? I thought it was ridiculous. If you get sick, take yourself to the hospital. Why do you want to see me? With a bang, I heard the sound of glass breaking. Then came the urgent cry. Boss, your hand. It's bleeding. Damn it, call your boss. I will bankrupt your store today. It was noisy and boring, so I hung up the phone. Occasionally I see Holt on TV, and he seems to have negotiated several big deals. He was dressed in a business suit, elegant and elegant. His hair was meticulously taken care of, and he spoke with confidence and eloquence, which was very high-spirited. I used to be so obsessed with him, but when I saw it again, I felt that there was no trace of excitement in my heart, and it even felt a little strange. Stephen put his arm around my waist and said, Amy, Meteor, make a wish. I don't know why I am recalling this in this quiet night. I put away the complicated emotions in my heart and smiled at Stephen. I don't like making wishes. Wishes rarely come true. Once upon a time, I prayed to God and prayed on my knees, begging Holt to look at me one more time. But trapped in the 10-year love affair with him, I made myself bruised and bruised, but he finally went to Bai Yueguang. Instead, now I have broken free and learned to love myself. And Holt's presence in my heart is getting weaker and weaker, and I am becoming happier and more comfortable. Stephen said nothing. I saw him get up quietly, sit upright on the ground, close his eyes, and slowly clasp his hands together. Stephen, what are you wishing for? Why so pious? 08. When I came back from abroad, I immediately went to work. There was a lot of work backlogged, and for the first time my boss didn't get angry and gave me a salary increase. Fine. I guess it's Stephen's fault, but I still plan to work hard and prove my worth. Career, unlike men, will never abandon you. What you give is what you get. Late at night, big snowflakes were falling. I walked out of the company and found that there was already a thick layer of snow on the ground. I wanted to check what time it was, but my phone was out of battery. Alas, the new year is approaching and I have been so busy that I forgot. My phone was out of battery and I didn't even notice. I held the cloth bag, covered my head with one hand, gathered my windbreaker, and walked quickly to the bus stop. The boots squeaked in the snow. The north wind blows on the face like a knife, cutting it cold and hard. Not far away, A white Bentley parked quietly on the side of the road. Its window rolled down halfway. "It's Holt." Our eyes met. I said nothing. He didn't speak either. I stopped, and the scarlet smoke ring light spots were particularly eye-catching in the white night sky. When did he learn to smoke? We just looked at him quietly. We hadn't seen him for a long time, and he became thinner. The heating in the car must have been sufficient, because Holt's breath alternated between hot and cold, turning into a hazy mist that lingered on his face. He remained motionless. I knew he was waiting for me to take the initiative to speak. He was giving me the steps. When I took the initiative to approach him and apologize to him, he would pet my head like he petted a dog before. "This won't happen again. Otherwise, I wouldn't want you." I shook my hands, which were red from the cold, without looking back, and turned around and ran into the flying snow. But just after running a few steps, his wrist was held with cruel force. "Amy, I told them off." An understatement, just like. His usual cold demeanor was very insincere. I shook off his arm. "Really? That's your business, not mine." After saying that, I wanted to leave, but Holt hugged me and dragged me away, pressing me against the car door. "Amy, I can understand why you are angry. After all, you are not happy that I left you. But today I came to see you, and I have already given you a step down." Holt wanted to say something else, but his Adam's apple rolled and he hesitated before swallowing it. He trapped me tightly and I couldn't get out. I had no choice but to look up at him. "So? You give me a step and I have to step down. You don't know what's good, right? For him, this is a great gift. I have to accept it even if I don't accept it. He's afraid there's something seriously wrong with his head. Do you still think that we are just like before? Whenever we have an argument and he stretches out his hand, I will just run over and kneel down?" I pushed him away and wanted to escape. Holt grabbed my hands, raised them above my head, and pressed them hard on the roof of the car. "Amy, isn't it because of joy that you are arguing with me? She and I had nothing before, very innocent, not as dirty as you think. Her parents are gone. Such a big deal. This is human nature. Can't you be considerate and considerate of her? I find it ridiculous. So the living cannot compete with the dead. So I wish you all the best. You are a perfect match. Don't mess with me." Holt suddenly became angry. "Amy, did I spoil you too much before? With your current attitude, I just think you are jealous. This shows that you still care about me and love me, right?" Holt's starry eyes flickered, and he stared at me. I could see his hesitation and uncertainty, and there was a little sadness hidden in his seemingly unconcerned tone. Why bother? Who can show me when a cat cries about a mouse? I was speechless. "Holt, I'm not kidding. I sincerely wish you enjoy the best." Holt punched the car. "Amy, how long do you want to keep making trouble? I have come to you and apologized. Don't go too far." This is the first time I've seen Holt so angry. It's for me. What gave him the courage and confidence to think that I was making trouble? Most likely, the first time we had with him was something I begged for. At that time, Joy went abroad and abandoned Holt. He was very drunk. I mustered up the courage of my life and jumped on him. That night, I was very raw. He turned around and pinned me down, turning his back on me. But it was just a whim, and finally he opened me up indifferently. At that time, I thought I was not good enough. So I cried for a long time and made up my mind to learn many ways to please him. Maybe at that time, he thought that I would have to please him throughout my life. Now and then, I no longer have love for him," I said quietly. "Holt, I didn't make a fuss, I really let it go." This was the second time I called him by his full name. Holt's hand suddenly relaxed. He stiffened. After a long time, he finally breathed out. Amy, you can't hurt me like this. I haven't said it's over yet, you can't refuse me." My wrist was so painful from his grip. There was a crisp slap in the air, and Holt and I were stunned. Yes, I slapped him. "Holt, I don't love you anymore. I have someone I like. Please respect me from now on. So I will no longer be as humble as before, low in the dust, careful to please you, and take care of your happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy. Falling in love is a matter of two people, but to separate, one person is enough." Holt looked at me blankly, his eyes filled with sadness. Suddenly, he leaned over and brushed my neck and ears with his tall nose and handsome face. "That's where I'm most sensitive. I pushed him away with a trembling body. Holt staggered back and almost fell. Amy, so you guys slept? Damn it, did you really sleep? That's how he pleases you, right? Say. Holt growled and tried to kiss me forcefully. I slapped my face twice and slapped him again. Holt, we're all over here, what do you want me to say? It will take you a few times to believe that I don't love you anymore. I've given up, you can move on. Don't make me look down on you. Holt was in disbelief, his eyes were blazing. I don't believe it. I don't want to tangle with him anymore. It's your business whether you believe it or not. From now on, it has nothing to do with me anymore. After saying that, I turned to leave. Holt's eyes were scarlet and he dragged me into the car. Let's go. Come home with me. I can pretend that nothing happened between you and Steven. I held the car door tightly and refused to get in. Suddenly, there was a sudden brake sound, and Steven rushed out of the driver's seat and punched Holt to the ground. Who do you think you are? How dare you touch her? 09. Two men struggled with each other. The snow in the sky is still falling. I don't know how long they beat me. I just felt a buzzing in my ears, and I used all my strength to separate them. I defended myself tightly in front of Steven and screamed at Holt. Holt, have you had enough trouble? Holt's mouth was full of blood, and he smiled sadly. Amy, are you protecting him? Do you know what you are doing? I am the man you have loved for 10 years. He only loves you because you are my woman. How can he love you? He is just playing with you. Can you wake up? Steven heard this and wanted to beat Holt again. Damn it, who are you talking about? Finally, I stopped Steven. Steven, let me solve it myself, okay? Steven was worried but nodded anyway. I helped Steven to his car and turned back. I was 1 meter away from Holt and stopped. I said it in the calmest tone of my life. Holt, I'm sober, I've never been sober. Steven, he's my man. You can't hurt him from now on. Otherwise, I'll beat you every time I see you. After saying that, I drove Steven away without looking back. The car drove far away, but Holt still stood there motionless. Snow fell on his face, eyelashes, and clothes. He became a snowman. He didn't growl.
No histeria.
His fists clenched tightly and then unclenched. From the rearview mirror, I could feel him trying to hold back. Holt, we're over this a long time ago. The moment you left me behind at your wedding, we were done. It was you who lost me. I hope you can take care of yourself and don't shamelessly pester me. 10. In the living room of the apartment, I took out the medical kit from under the coffee table and cleaned Steven's wounds. He hissed in pain. You know it hurts, why did you go already? Steven was not annoyed and even burst out laughing. You're still laughing, you're laughing your ass off. Amy, has anyone ever said you look cute when you're angry? I nodded perfunctorily. Yeah. I think your brain has been knocked out, and it's time to go to the hospital. Steven pursed his lips and smiled. Holt was hurt more than me. So fighting is justified, right? I poked Steven's wound hard. He grinned in pain, but he didn't make a sound. I sighed deeply and breathed helplessly for him. You just said that I am your man? My heart skipped a beat. Ching, do you take the words you said in a hurry? After I finished speaking, I felt guilty and quickly added another sentence. It's just a random joke to deal with Holt. Steven raised his eyebrows and looked at me jokingly. Okay. I'd like to see how long someone can be stubborn. I hurriedly packed the medical kit and changed the subject. Weren't you on a business trip for a week? Why did you come back suddenly? Steven shook his phone. I sent you a text message, but you didn't reply. No one answered the call and the phone was turned off. I was afraid that something might happen to you in the snow, so I flew back. But it's only because the project there is progressing smoothly that it can be ended early. I can't tell any lies. A 1-week project was completed in 3 days. I looked at Steven's eyes, which were all black and blue. He must have been working 24 hours a day, and his partners must have been tortured inhumanely. However, it feels good to be missed. Steven can looking at me wistfully. Amy, I got hurt tonight because of you. I slept at your house. You have to make it up to me. I threw the soft pillow on the sofa on him. Get out. Don't want. Steven smiled, a competitive drive bursting out from his brows. Don't you want to do it after so many days? I held the corners of my clothes tightly with both hands. I was extremely nervous, but my mouth was still very hard. I don't want to. I turned my head away, not daring to look at him, and muttered softly. The next second, my body was vacated. The whole room was spinning. I was thrown on the bed in the bedroom by Steven. Steven's kisses fell on every corner of my body. I don't have that anymore at home. If you have it, give birth. 11. 3 days later, Joy requested to add me as a friend. I asked her, "Is something wrong?" The WeChat chat box showed that Joy was typing, but after a while, it returned to normal. After a long time, Joy sent a message. "Amy, Holt and I have nothing to do, don't think too much about it." I just thought it was ridiculous. When I looked through her circle of friends, the photos of them intertwining their fingers that day were gone. Actually, it's just wishful thinking on my part. You are not my substitute. What's funny is that when Holt came to see me this time, he actually found your shadow in me. So, give me some face and stop making trouble with Holt. Is this Holt looking for him to be a lobbyist? The point is, does Joy agree? Ridiculous two weirdos. I sneered. Joy, you are not innocent. If you liked Holt, you shouldn't have abandoned him in the first place. If you respected me, you shouldn't have been disconnected from him after so many years. I don't know what the deal is between you and Holt, but you tell him that even without you, he and I will be separated sooner or later. What happened with Joy only accelerated the breakdown of my relationship with Holt. After all, it was Holt who was always aloof and never respected, trusted, or cared for me as a close friend. The two ends of the love scale are out of balance. It's only a matter of time before the chicken flies over the egg. Joy made a sad and desperate expression. Amy, I have breast cancer, it's in the late stage. I just wanted Si Yen to spend more time with me. What's wrong with me? Although I took the initiative to leave him back then, I have been tortured by you two for so many years. I have seen enough of your loving photos in social media. Otherwise, how could I get terminally ill? Therefore, there is reincarnation and justice in the sky. You are terminally ill because you are depressed and you are to blame. What does it have to do with me? A third party intervenes, uses scheming tactics to destroy other people's feelings and bottom line. And is he still aggrieved? I replied coldly to her. Go to the doctor if you are sick. But Joy, you owe me an apology. A long while. Joy then replied, I'm sorry, but can you persuade Si Yen to come and see me? He's been ignoring me lately and I'm really going to collapse. I took a photo of the chat history and replied before deleting Joy. Sorry, I can't forgive you. A person who sincerely repents will never make a mistake. She apologized, but she was just tortured by illness, afraid of death and loneliness. Therefore, such people do not deserve forgiveness. Can't forgive either. 12. On New Year's Day, I was cleaning the apartment. Someone sent me a WeChat message. He is a good friend of Holt. Amy, I hate you. After blocking all Holt's contact information, he tried this trick again. Holt, do you think this is interesting? There was silence on the other side for a long time. Amy, I love you. Shall we start over? Called Holt sick. He said I was unkind. Most of the time when they break up, they are in trouble and embarrass each other. Where are there so many things to get together and get away from? Since Holt is still obsessed with resentment, I have to find something for him to do. Then I sent the chat history between Joy and me. A week later, Holt posted a video of him and Joy. I asked you to apologize to Amy and explain the situation. Is this how you stimulated her? Joy, when did I say I love you? If you hadn't said you were terminally ill, would I have softened my heart and come to see you? Don't take other people's kindness as love. Instigating feelings between Amy and me. Joy was lying on the hospital bed, crying out of breath and apologized to me. I bit into the juice and watched them tear each other apart, which was quite satisfying. After a while, Holt contacted me again using his buddy's WeChat account. Amy, I know you are angry. I took this anger out on you, can you forgive me? What a joke. Why should I forgive you? If you say you're sorry, do you have to morally kidnap me to forgive you? There is no such reason. Holt. Scars will heal, but broken mirrors cannot be put back together. There are some things, so don't be wishful thinking. When the video call came through, I hung up over and over again. Before turning his head to block it, a voice message came over. It's Holt's buddy. Sister-in-law, the boss was in a car accident. He can't survive. Stephen wore an apron and brought a bowl of steaming egg noodles from the kitchen. Your favorite. There are many chopped green onions, and I specially use a pot with minced garlic. But who was in the car accident just now? I took a sip of hot noodles, drank boiled water when they were so hot, and said nonchalantly, an insignificant person. Amy, after you finish eating, I will take you to a place. Teen, I asked, is it very far? Not far. It's right next door to your neighborhood. I nodded. On the way there, my phone was filled with news. Holt was in a car accident and was seriously injured in the ICU, fearing he would never wake up again. Amy, what are you looking at? I put away the phone and smiled. It's nothing. But when I got to the place Stephen mentioned, I was shocked. The entire 120 square meter house is filled with photos of me. From when I was 18 to 28. The scene of me wearing a ponytail, wearing a school uniform, riding a bicycle to school. I secretly set up a street stall and sold photos of my own jewelry designs. The first time I got a job, I was waiting for Holt to have dinner at the restaurant. He didn't come because he had something to do, so I looked miserable while eating steak. There was also a scene where I had stomach bleeding, my face was pale, and I was alone in the emergency hall for infusion. All my dietary preferences. The wish bottle I buried in the yard of my villa before I went bankrupt. I said that in the future I will take my beloved boy to see the aurora. I heard that if you make a wish on a shooting star, your dream will come true. There are so many that I can't count them. My eyes are moist. I slowly squatted down and cried softly. It turned out that somewhere I couldn't see, someone had been guarding me for 10 years. I humbly loved Holt for 10 years. Someone is right behind me, guarding me silently for 10 years. Amy, don't cry. You don't know, I'm most afraid of your tears. Stephen forcibly lifted my head from the socket of his knees and gently wiped away my tears with his rough knuckles. So we met before? I don't understand. My voice still contained uncontrollable crying. You really can't remember? I shook my head in confusion. Stephen hugged me on the sofa and gave me a comforting smile. Do not blame you. My condition was so bad back then that I felt completely different from who I am now. It turned out that one winter 10 years ago, I went to college in another city. At the train station, I saw a young man wearing a thin school uniform and carrying a backpack, trying to jump on the light rail. I saved him. At that time, something happened to my family, and I collapsed all of a sudden. My parents also committed suicide by jumping off the building. I went from a wealthy young master to a poor boy who was unwanted by no one. I couldn't accept it. I felt that life was hopeless and confused. It would be better to die happily. Then you showed up. You asked me who bullied me. Whoever bullies me, hit him back with your fists. I said it's life, it's the impermanence of things. You smiled. You said that your family was bankrupt, but you didn't grow up smoothly. You told me that even if the world bullies me, I will slap him back hard in the face. As long as you don't give up and live, there is hope. I watched you get on the train. You were obviously about the same age as me, but the setting sun fell on you and coated you with a layer of gold. I suddenly felt that I had the courage to live in life. Gas. I looked at Stephen quietly, my face already wet. And after? Stephen said. Later, I went abroad and was adopted by relatives. They helped me go to college, and my career was somewhat successful. Many people say that I have a little talent in business, but that's just a subtle influence from my parents. There was a bitter taste in my throat. You must have had a hard time after all these years, right? Stephen shook his head. It's not as hard as you. Over the years, I have asked friends in China to find out about you and then take photos of you to keep. I thought when I become famous, I will come back and marry you. But it was too late when I came back. You had Holt by your side and were getting married, so I had no choice but to watch you silently and wish you happiness. But damn, I don't know how to cherish you, and I left you alone to find another woman at the wedding. When Stephen said this, he gritted his teeth. Suddenly, he sighed deeply and held my hand tightly. The strength was so great that I was afraid it would be like losing me again. So, I don't know whether to hate him or thank him. I hate him for causing you pain, despair, and loss, for making you shed tears. I also thank him for giving me the opportunity to be with you. I burst into tears. I feel so messed up. I can't describe what it feels like. I thought Stephen was interested in me. It's conquest. It's a man's ambition. After all, I was Holt's woman. But I was also very moved. No one knows better than me what it feels like to have a humble secret love for 10 years. That kind of caution. Please, hold it in your hand for fear of falling. Hold it in your mouth for fear of melting. I sniffed. So you have already prepared the diamond ring for the wedding? Stephen smiled and nodded. There were tears in the corners of his eyes. Amy, please forgive me for having planned this against you for so long. Okay? I lay in his arms, unable to suppress the emotions in my heart any longer, and burst into tears. Who can I blame him for? One of my unintentional actions saved a delinquent boy. He spent 10 years giving back to me. So who is the good match for whom? But in the end, I made the money. Stephen patted my back gently and comforted me. Amy, let's try it, okay? I looked up and nodded with tears in my eyes. Stephen, I think I will love you well. Once bitten, twice shy. Having been hurt by Holt, I think men are not good people. I wanted to seal my heart in love. But Stephen, I think he might be worth it. I want to try it. He wiped away my tears and kissed my forehead. I bought your parents' villa. I will spend your birthdays with you from now on. My parents died in a car accident on my birthday. I haven't celebrated my birthday in 20 years. Because it's their death anniversary. Amy, Aunt and Uncle won't blame you. They don't want you to do this. Every day I'm with you from now on will be a new life. Okay? My tears fell again. For more than 20 years, no one has been able to help me open this knot in my heart. Stephen gently pressed the back of my head and kissed my tears away one by one. He carried me to the bathroom, took off my clothes, and helped me wash my dry, sore face in every corner of my body. His kisses landed on my waist, all the way down. Amy, I said I want you to be happy forever, believe me. Amy, I love you. I love you too.